Hello, 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 everybody. Happy Saturday. Let me do a quick microphone check here. Give me one sec. All right. It sounds like we are good to go. All right. Let me see. Check cameras. Oops. Give me one sec. I literally just set up my cameras just minutes ago. All right. Yep. Software. All right. We're good to go here. All right. We are good to go. We are ready to go. And all right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. I know we're starting an hour early today because, of course, the USA team is playing today against the Netherlands. All right, so big day today, big game, and I definitely didn't want to cut the class short due to a game. So instead of cutting it short, I just kind of moved it 1 hour earlier. And if you're catching us on the replay, or if you came late, okay, there's always the replay available. We could watch it over and over and over and over. And of course, patches, one of the most popular items in embroidery. It's never going out of style. Okay, it's never going out of style. Um, it's gonna be something that people always are gonna ask for. All right. Now, today's topic is called um, the easy way or the hard. What did I call it? The easy way and the hard way to create patches. All right, the easy way and the hard way. Okay, really, we already know there's hundreds of different ways to create patches. All right, every week I feel like somebody invented a new way to make patches. Okay, usually the old classic methods always work and they always come back. Um, so those are always the popular ones. But today, the two that I want to talk about, okay, and the reason why something is easy and hard, okay, I would say there's certain conditions that would make it something easy or hard. Okay, so for example, maybe equipment wise, okay, maybe you don't have a certain equipment to make to finish a patch. Okay, for example, if you don't have a laser, if you don't have a marrow machine, okay, then we got to kind of get creative, right, with our embroidery machine. Okay, also what plays a big role is the quantity. How many patches do you want to make? Sometimes the easy way wouldn't make sense if you're doing hundreds of patches. Okay. So when I'm doing these two methods today, and the two methods that I'm going to use, okay, just to let everybody know, is of course the very popular, the water soluble, where you just punch out the patches, right? Makes life very easy. Okay. And then the second way, I'm going to use the hot knife. Okay. I'm going to show you how I use it. I think I use it a little different than just the traditional way. Okay. I don't think I haven't seen anybody do it the way I do it. Right. It's a little different. Um, so we're gonna check that out. Okay. So today's file that I chose. All right. Let me see. Let's switch right here. All right. So I got of course, the famous Atlanta. Okay. What I want to do. Okay. I don't want to take too much time of the embroidery time, but I do want to have a video where I digitize this logo, and really what it is, let's hide this. All right, really, of course, it's just the Atlanta logo. And of course, you could always make anything into a patch. Okay, you could always make anything into a patch. The way I usually do it, very easy way, is as long as you make a border across of it. Now, okay, make a border, let's say 6 millimeters. It'll make a border around it. Okay, now I would say the more tighter these corners, so let's say like these corners here, the more tighter you're going in, the harder it's going to be to finish it, either if you're hand cutting it, if you're using a hot knife. Okay, now let's say if you do go in real tight, so let's do one that's very tight. Let's go in 3 millimeters. Let's say you want a patch that's real close to the edge. All right, something like this. Okay, now we're getting very close. Okay, and then you could put a sand border around it. All right. All right. I'm not gonna fix it right now, but I'm just kind of showing you an example. All right. As you get closer and tighter, now it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to finish. All right. So in this situation, if you have something that's very tight, oddball shapes or odd shapes, okay, then the water soluble would probably be your your easiest way to do something like that. Okay. It's less headaches, it's less finishing portion. All right. Unless now with the hot knife, unless you're experienced. Okay, if you're experienced with the hot knife, then maybe a hot knife might be quicker, and I'll show you kind of the difference between when we're doing the both. All right, so let me go back here. Let me just reverse. Oh, I don't know what I did. All right, let me unhide this. Unhide. All right, so the first method I want to show you. All right, let me first start off with. All right, let me first start off with saying good morning to everybody. All right. I know we might get some people late today because I'm starting an hour early. All right, but that's all good. We're gonna have the files available for replay. Okay. Good morning, Lars VT. Okay, from Belgium. All right, ready to take your products to the next level. All right, Legine. Good morning, Michael, Alicia, Baby Jean, Sylvain, Aldel, cranking mode. Cranking mad. All right. All right. Let's see. Of course, patches are very popular. For example, I've had this one. This one is from that one video I did. I don't know if it was this year. Yeah, where I heat pressed it onto a shirt. So it's already been it's already taken about, I would say, at least 20, 30 washes, and it's still holding on tight. Good. All right. So a lot of the products that I'm using today, um, I'm just gonna list it in the description after the live. If there's anything you want details about, let me know so that way I could include it in the description. All right. It's always popular question. Where did I get my twill? Where do I get my adhesive? All right. Just FYI, my twill, my adhesive, I get it at Twill USA, but there's other places to get them. All right. You could get them Ganold. You could get them at all Ganold, um, Joy USA, Stalls, right? They all have them. Okay, it's always good to know who specializes in what. Okay, because uh, certain companies, they specialize in a certain product, so it's always good to know. Just especially if you're starting off, I would say buy a little bit of everything, just so you could get a feel of thing. And if people come with recommendations, you know if that product is good or not. All right. Good morning, Barb. All right. It feels like -14 where you're at. Oh, wow. That's crazy. All right. We're at 23 right here. All right. It's definitely cold over there. Electroplasm from Rancho Cucamonga. All right. San Bernardino area. Southern Cali in the house. All right. Good to have you this morning. All right. I am Quay. Definitely want to learn about to do patches. All right. Let's go ahead. Let's get this started because we got a lot going on today. All right, let's go on the big screen here. All right. What I'm gonna do first, I'm going to stitch out our file. Okay, I'm gonna do it the water soluble way first. Actually, let's go to the design so I could show you the the order that we're gonna go in. All right, I have this label water soluble, and then let me do a quick announcement right here. All right, let's do a quick announcement before we get into the details. All right, just as a FYI, okay, there's 3 ways to support this class, okay. Um, uh, Level number 1, all right, is just you showing up, right? You being here. hitting likes, right, sharing it. So you can help the channel without even, without paying anything, right? It's just showing up and supporting the class. Okay. I do appreciate everybody, especially waking up very early in the morning. Okay. I don't know if there's another live channel that goes this early in the morning, but we are embroiderers. I'm pretty sure a lot of us, Saturdays are go-to day. And I would rather start the morning fresh, right? With our brains nice and fresh. That way, anything that we got to do, right? Whether it's business wise, family wise, anything wise, okay, we could take care of it afterward. All right. We take care of business first, then we got all day to take care of business. Okay. Um, so supporting the class, level number one, right? Thank you for showing up, right? If everybody's here, supporting the class, all right, appreciate that. Hit that like, all right. Let YouTube know that we are in the house and that class is in session. All right. Uh, level number two, okay. There's always super chats are always open, right? It's not even right. You don't have to. That's only if you do want to support the class, right? There's super chats and there's links. I'm pretty sure I put links. I gotta check the description, but links to if you want to make any donations or anything like that. All right, and then number three, okay, this is the big one. Channel membership. We do have a YouTube channel membership. It's 19.99 a month, and that's where I drop all like anything that I'm working on or or any preview for Saturday morning classes. I just drop it there. For example, today's files, they are available to all the YouTube members, right? So if you're a YouTube member, you could follow along. You could have these files open as I'm going through it. They are the EMB files. If you have access to EMB files, then you could open, measure, or you could even change stuff around, tweak stuff. All right. I always think every design can always be editable, right? Editable. Okay, meaning you can always make changes to designs. Sometimes something doesn't look right. Okay, and you want to test it out. You want to make little tweaks. Okay, if as long as you have the working files, you could test stuff out. All right. All right. Now let's start with the program right here. All right. All right. So this is what we're gonna stitch out right now. Okay. This is what I would call the easy way. All right. So I'm talking about the easy way, the hard way, but at the very end of today's training, I'm going to kind of switch it up and say that the hot knife is my easiest way. Okay, so I'm going to start the show with saying this is the easy way, the water soluble, especially with items that have kind of like odd shapes. Okay, sort of like this area here. Okay, very difficult to just cut with the hand scissors. All right, it's still possible, but it is kind of tricky sometimes. All right, but when we punch it out, with the water soluble, okay, makes life a whole lot easier. All right, so, and we're gonna do both ways, so I could show you. All right, let me show you the order of operation here. I'm gonna push play. Let me slow this down a bit because it's two sets of hooping. Okay, we're gonna hoop it twice in order to do this. All right, so first one, uh, the first stitch is always your design. So you're just gonna make your design. All right, so it's gonna stitch this out. Let me speed it up a bit. All right. Speed it up a little bit more. All right, so it's going to do the design first. All right, so it does the bottom sand stitch, and now it's going to do the top, the red part. Okay. All right. So when we're doing this method, you always stitch out the design first. Okay. So it could be any design. Any design could be made into a patch. Okay. Any design can be made into a patch. Once we have our patch, the next one, this is going to be our cut stitch. All right. So here, I usually put green color as my cut stitch to let me know that there's a cut or there's something special about this stitch here. Okay. Okay, so this is where I take it off the hoop and I'm gonna cut it, and I want to cut it along the edge. I don't want to mess with this line here. Okay, I just want to cut it nice and clean. All right, and then that's where I'm gonna hoop it up hoop the water soluble. Okay, and then let me slow it down. And then I'm gonna push start again, and it's gonna make a placement line. Okay, it's gonna make a placement line on that water soluble to give me a location where to put my my patch. And then once it's on, then I want to show you this stitch here. I'm gonna put down a running stitch. Now notice my running stitch, it's 1 millimeters in. Okay, that's gonna help it hold it. All right, so it's like a tack down stitch. All right, but it's holding down that patch, and it's connecting it to the water soluble. All right, and then once it holds down, it's gonna go straight into the sand stitch. Okay, so then this is where it does the border. Then fast forward. All right, then it'll finish that border. All right, kind of like a preview. So as I'm going through the steps, you kind of have an idea of. And then once that's done, we punch it out. Okay, so that's the plan for right now. Okay. Um, if you have any questions about any of the steps, all right. So let me see. I wrote down the steps here. All right. So there's 8 steps. All right. So 8 steps. So step number 1, we're gonna hoop it up, just regular way that you would hoop anything up. Number 2, we're gonna stitch out the design plus the cut line. Step 3, we're gonna cut the patch. Step 4, we're gonna hoop the water soluble. Step 5, stitch placement line on the water soluble. Step 6, carefully place patch and verify. You're gonna see how I verify. And 7, start. We're gonna stitch that border. Okay, then step 8, the best step is clean and add adhesive, right? As a if you want to add adhesive too. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's go to our camera here. All right. Some of the products that I have here. All right, let me just kind of give you before I put some of this stuff away right now. On the second one that we make, I'm going to use the hot knife with my piece of glass right here. All right. The hot knife is not on. All right. So if you're not using it, of course, you always want to unplug it. All right. So I do have it here, but it's not plugged in. All right. We'll save that for our second one, which can be considered the hard way to make patches. All right. But I'm going to show you like a little trick that I use. Because I used to mess up patches. I used to burn them when I was doing the hot knife. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead. Let's hoop this up. Okay. I'm using more material than what's needed, but I'm gonna save this for another stuff that I'm working on later on. All right. So we're just gonna actually. This is Let me see if you can see right here. Yeah, we got a good view. This is actually adhesive twill. Okay. Not necessary, but it does make everything just kind of flatten out nice and clean. All right. Bam. All right. You could go with 2 pieces of cutaway. Usually for commercial work, I'm using 2 pieces of cutaway. Okay. Put that here. All right. We got a nice connection here. All right. And I should have hooped it the other way around. Actually, let me rehoop this because I want it to be facing a certain way. I want it to be facing this way. Yep. So I got the notch right here, right, to have this space going in. And this space will just be hanging outside the machine. All right, now let's go to the machine. All right, let's change cameras right here. So right now, this step in the patches, this is just your traditional step. We're just gonna stitch out the design, and the only difference is that we're adding that cut stitch. Okay. Let me just check my bobbin. Let me see if we got a good view. Yeah, we got a good view. All right, bobbin's good. Let's put it on the machine. Select my design. File. All right. Let me just find it real quick. Water sign. All right. Hopefully I selected the right one. Trace it real quick. All right, it's a little close there. All right, good. Make sure my colors are good. 6, blue, 5. All right. Yep. Looks like we're good. Oh wait. 6, 5, 5, 4. 6, 5, 4, 5, 2. 2. Let me see what color. Oh, going with blue. 4, 5, 6. All right. I think I had switched up my colors around. Oh, hold on. All right, let me check my color. 6. So that's the blue, red, blue, cut, placement, and I'm going to finish that final border with blue. All right, cool. We are good. All right, let's go ahead. Let's push start. Let me see if I can get you a good angle here. Let me see. All right, I think we got a good view here. We'll let this run. Let me know if you have any questions so far. Hey, good morning, Renew Wellness Ball. DR3 ADZ Oceanside in the house. All right. 619. All right, all right. Nasib from Indonesia. Good morning. Simbois. All right, good morning. Morning, Janet. All right, and then Barb pre-cut my patch with my Cricut. Then have a placement stitch to place the pre-cut patch. Then run a tag down stitch to hold the patch in place. All right. So yeah, So of course, another way to do it, I pre-cut my patch. Yeah, and then Bevy Jean. So when you make your design, how do you design it for the running stitch and patch border? Yeah, what I do, I just change the color in my embroidery design, and the different color will make it. It'll stop to let me remove the hoop. I'll show you. I'll show you when I put up the design. All right, hold on. All right, so right now we're doing the border on it, and then actually let me go back. Let me go back to Barb's question or Barb's comment. Uh, Barb, if you could tell us, do you run the whole design on the water soluble? So if you, like, for example, if you're running this design, you put the A, you would put the A already pre-cut. Would you run would you run the whole design on the badge master, or do you? That's kind of where I'm. The only question I have, if you are starting straight from the badge master. And then question, Aman, I've been confused with fonts and in general embroidery. We always not use edge underlay, meaning if your text is small, if you have small text, you don't want to use edge run. You want to use edge run for like the larger type fonts. But if you're going down to very small, tiny designs or tiny fonts, then you should be good with a center run. Yeah. So you kind of gradually move up. You always start with center run, and then if you need more, you can go with a zigzag, and then if you need more, you could always add a edge run. All right. So it's gonna do this part of the A. So one key note right now, I have my machine just running without stopping after every color change. So after this after this one, this color right now, I'm gonna have to stop it and change it to manual. If not, it's not gonna stop when I have to change the water soluble. And then I see here with the patch you use center run and zigzag. Yeah, yeah, zigzag. Even though it's a large font, is it because it's for uh, that? And also sometimes if I'm testing out a file, I'm gonna try to test it out with the minimum underlay. And if I look at the design and I see gaps or anything opening, then I'll add. So on this part, I have a double zigzag. Okay. Uh, so it's all about just what's required. But this one here I would see this more as a design logo than an actual just text in general. When I'm thinking text, I'm thinking about the smaller, like somebody's name on a hat or something. But yeah, something bigger like this, you could put a tad bit more underlay. And then Barb, you have a question here. Settings for Cricut. I have a Cricut Maker 3. All right. And then, yep, they know you can do sand over. Yeah, so that's usually how uh, these popular sports designs, you see them a lot in sports, where you see the sand on the sand under. All right, so right now, it's going to stop right now. I'm going to stop it too. All right, I'm going to put it to manual. All right, let's see. Let me see if I can get a good angle. So right now, what I'm looking at, all right, I'm just making sure there's no gaps or anything. Okay. I might just make a video where I'm digitizing this one because this one was a fun one to digitize. All right, very good one. All right, now it's gonna run the the cut stitch. So this cut stitch, it could be any color. Um, Maybe you want to do a color that's close to your sand border. Here I'm just doing it some odd colors so we can see it while I'm cutting. All right, let's go to the table here. All right, looks like I got a good view right here. I do probably got to show you also how we would go about if we were doing multiple of these designs, okay? Because it's a little different. The process is a tad bit different. Okay, just cut that just to give us some working room. Okay, and you see. All right, so right now I just want to cut along the line. Nice clean cut. What I usually do, like right here on the ends, I'll put little. I'll put little snips right here, just so as I'm cutting, it kind of comes off. All right, check this out. Now, with these odd shapes, all right, that's why I kind of chose this one just to give it a little difference. Because if you're doing a straight square rectangle, all right, that's easy day right there. You're cutting these like nothing. Okay, with these more odd shapes, all right, you're gonna require. All right, and now you don't want to cut that line. Okay, and my border for water soluble, I like to give it a nice thick border. So I believe this is a 4.5 millimeter border. All right. So last week we kind of went over um, the difference between our sand stitches. Okay. So 4 millimeters is a nice full size for a sand border. All right. I'm cutting this at an angle because I have like the camera right in front. But That's why I'm kind of cutting it a little slower. Now, usually your first one is the one that takes the longest to cut. Once you get into a rhythm, I mean, you're cutting these out like nothing. And just as a tip, let's say you're running a bunch of these, right? Let's say you're doing like 48 of these patches. What you can do, you could put some temporary adhesive, um, like this. What do you call that? The heat and bond, right? Or the equivalent to heat and bond. That way, it's easier to place on the water soluble. All right. In this situation, if there's only one, I'm just gonna add some 505 spray to help it stick. All right. Here, we can leave this one. This one shouldn't be. There's like a little gap right there. That's fine. All right. So let me see. All right. So far. Now, what you want to do also, okay, this is just extra, right? If you have any stragglers like these, you could cut these out right here. All right. What I would recommend if you do cut out little strings like that, okay, or you might have little stragglers kind of hanging out outside, just burn them. All right. Just burn these, but you could clean it up a bit. All right, just in case, just so sometimes what happens is the border, you'll place the border and then little stragglers are hanging out. All right, but you could kind of kill it right here. All right, we got this. Now, put this to the side. Now, put our water soluble. All right, so we're good here. All right, now I take it back to the machine. All right, I'll fix that camera right now. Take it to the machine. All right. Now I'm not touching I'm not adjusting anything on the machine. I'm just putting it back. Okay. I'm you do not want to move anything around here. Okay. All you're gonna do is push start. Okay. And it's gonna continue designing it as we were designing it or as we were stitching it before. All right. So now it's gonna put this placement stitch. Okay. So color red. I put it a different color. You'll kind of see why I put it a different color right now. All right, now let's take it off. Let's go back. All right, back here. Let me drop down the camera a tad bit. All right, we got front row view right here. All right, let's see if you can see that. All right, so we got to put it exactly. Okay, what has to happen is this green thread has to be exactly on top of that red thread down here. All right, what I'm going to do, I got to add the adhesive. So I got the famous 505 spray. Okay, I'm going to spray it here like at this corner. just so I don't get anything sprayed on this side. But I'm looking for my little, oh, let me find a piece of scrap so I could spray on top of. All right. Actually, let me do it on camera so you can see what I'm doing. See? All right, so I just got like scrap cutaway here. Just want to lay it flat, shake it. Let's give it a little couple sprays right there. All right, good to go. All right, now, okay. Usually if you're doing just regular shapes, this is like easy day right here, but with these more oddball shape, okay, I'm at an angle, but I'm going to place it right above. All right. Give it a good push. All right. Usually with this spray, it locks in pretty good. All right. And then this is the way I check myself. All right. Make sure if I'm straight. Actually should have pushed down once I check myself. But I look underneath. Okay. This red should match that green. And I don't even see green. Okay. I don't see any green thread telling me I'm exactly lined up. Okay. If you have it all, if you can see like the green thread under that, then that means you're shifted. Okay, could play a role, could affect your final stitch out there. Okay, this one here I could cut this. These are just placement stitches, so it doesn't matter. And we're gonna burn these at the end. So, all right, ready to go here. All right, let's take it back to the machine. And push start. We just continue where we left off. All right, and let me make sure my color's right. 6. Yep. Let me get a good view. Oh, check this bobbin. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. All right. Got a good old-fashioned thread break. It's not the bobbin. Bobbin's still good. Give me 1 sec. We'll troubleshoot in live. Oh, let me move this camera to get looking at the bobbin housing. We're just gonna cut this back thread that's back here. I'm about to run out of bobbin, but taking it all the way to the end. Let me just blow some air here. All right. All right, everything looks good. Just pull this thread down here. Let me pick this up a bit. All right, gotta kind of pull this off out. So let me thread the needle. Try and do this with the camera right in front. Needle 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Go thread. All right. So back it up a bit. See where I'm at. Right. The best time to have a thread break like that or loss of bobbin is during the underlay because it's not going to really affect anything. All right. So we're still on the underlay right now. So let's bake this. All right. And all right. Good to go. Just had a little hiccup right there. I know my bobbin's running short, but we're going to play bobbin roulette and see if it makes it all the way through. All right. Good morning, T-Town. Yeah, started an hour early. All right. I know I put out the message like last minute. All right, like yesterday evening. So, all right, it's all good. You're here for the good part right now, right? And then Bevy Jean. So you said the running stitch. So it's the stitch that's gonna tag down the patch onto the water soluble. It was 1 millimeter in, not outside the design, inside the design. So you can kind of see that that blue running stitch. It's kind of like inside the green. And then Aman, this is a twill, tackle twill. And then let's check. Michael, when I place the cutout patch onto the water soluble with spray adhesive, it swims and moves as soon as the needle touches. Oh, hey. So it's not supposed to. Like the whole purpose of the spray is to stick on it. So I don't know if maybe you have to spray a tad bit more. And what I do, I like to push it down. So you saw me kind of push it down with my thumb, but it's usually locked down when I put it on. And then barb. This is good information for those who have a cricket. All right. So if you're cutting tackle twill, this is the setting that Barb uses. She uses the duck clock setting under the material list. All right, good info. Appreciate that, Barb, sharing your settings. And then this is key. Like if you're using a cricket or any type of cutter, it's key that you put a backing, a stabilize, the heat and bond. Okay, but you want to use the light purple heat and bond, not the red. Okay, the temporary heat and bond. All right, so our stitch starting to come out good. And then excellent question, Aldell. Do you think heat and bond or the spray on the back of patch would adhere good enough for a material like that found on heavy duty martial arts uniform? Um, really, when I've had material that's kind of tricky, I've done both. I've put heat and bond and spray. If it's something that keeps on, it's not sticking on hard enough, I would actually put both. But usually you're good with one way or the other. Okay, should be all right. Okay. Well, really, what's really important is the tag down stitch because once you have it tagged down, I mean, it doesn't even matter what you have under there. All right. All right. Hey, good morning, Jeanette. Good to have you here this morning. All right, let's go check this out. Good morning, Demps. All right. And then, yes, thank you, Jeanette, for bringing this up. Okay, I love doing batches on the plastic. So this here, I'm doing it on water soluble. There are other options. You could literally go to Home Depot, get the thick those thick I forgot what's the mill, like the weight of it. Okay. Um, like if you're in if if that's what you have, okay, that'll work fine. Okay. Um, I'm just always used to using this one. So, all right. So let's go ahead. So far, so good. Let's go ahead. Let's go punch this out. All right. Let me. All right. To me, this is the best part of the whole. This version is the punch out. All right. And then let me get this one good. All right. It could be the brand of spray 505 KK 20 or KK 20 is good. All right. Yep. Uh, I've been using 505 forever. It's pretty much locks down my stuff pretty good. All right. Um, but yeah, there are other sprays also. All right. All right. All right. Hey, good morning, Cindy. We started an hour early. Okay, just because USA is playing today. All right, big game today. All right, I'm super excited. We're in the second round of the World Cup. All right, and then yes, all right. Let's talk about this before we punch this out. I see that my GoPro's battery's about to die. But I got the backup battery right now. All right. I was advised that patches really need to be sewed on. Yes, okay, yes. Even though you do, okay. So hold on. Let's. While I do a battery change, let me talk about this topic right here, all right? Because this deserves its own little part right now. While I do a battery change. All right. So this is what I would say on that. All right, because the shirt that I'm wearing right now. Okay, so this is the from the one that video I made. I don't know if it was this year or last year, right? Uh, I ironed. Okay, so anytime I'm selling patches, I show customers that video like, hey, this is how you go ahead and iron. Okay, with a home iron. Okay, um, patches, but we always recommend to sew it on because sometimes, okay, if you're doing it for yourself, then you could just heat press it, right? Or if you're manually ironing it. But what happens is you don't know how the customer is going to take care of it. You don't know how they're going to laundry it. You don't know if they're going to put the highest setting on their dryer. Okay. So that's going to affect it. You don't know if they're going to leave it in their car, right, during the day on a hot, sunny day in direct sunlight. And that's going to affect the patch. Okay. And then what happens is if that happens, then the customer is going to blame you, right? So yes, it's always recommended to tell the customers, hey, you do have an adhesive, you can use it, but we still recommend you to stitch it on. All right, because we know how much heat is required. We know how much pressure we have to put, but we don't know if the customer knows that or if the customer is actually going to follow the steps that we give them. All right, so usually what I like to do, I like to put the temporary adhesive. Okay, I'll show you the temporary. That way it has something so when they stitch it on, okay, they could apply it and then it doesn't move on them. Okay. All right. Thank you for that bit of information. Um, Let me see. All right. And then to go back to the bags, 1.3, 1.3 mils. Okay. And then T-Town, right? 3 millimeter plastic. All right. Yeah. Okay. Correction. Yes, 3 millimeter. All right, thank you. I appreciate everybody sharing the settings that they use because, like I said, there's tons of other ways to do it. All right, by us like coming together and gathering information and sharing it. Right, we come we get information and we put out information. So, and really, embroidery, that's what embroidery is all about. Because sometimes you kind of have to be like MacGyver and you got to figure stuff out and you got to adjust settings and make stuff happen. All right. So I do appreciate you sharing that information. Okay. Um, and really, you could get a bag, you could get a big old box of those construction bags, those heavy duty, those black bags. Okay. I have some in my garage and maybe one day if I'm out of if I'm out of my water soluble, I might just use it one day. All right, let's go back. We're gonna go back. We're gonna get to the fun part, which is the punching out. All right, let me see how I'm doing with time. Time is all right. We're good to go. All right, because I do want to show you my other way is with the hot knife. All right, let me just switch cameras. All right, we're at 100 right here. Good to go. All right, so this part is the fun part, right? So really, it took us 8 steps, right? 8 steps. So here, I like to punch it out, still on the hoop, so we have tension, right? It's like an extra set of hands helping me with this. All right. And then once you get that first one, right, everything pretty much comes out pretty straightforward. All right, let's check this out. I mean, I don't even know if you could cut it so it could be this close, this sharp, right? I haven't even adjusted anything. Okay. We haven't even done anything to it. Okay, we could cut these off right here. And I always recommend if you cut off, tie off stitches or tie-in stitches, just burn them so, you know, they won't unravel. Okay, this plastic here, I'm going to get rid of it. Okay. All right. Let's see if we got, all right. Getting good view. All right. You could probably leave it, but don't leave it. Just take it out. Okay, just use a seam reaper. Seam reaper. All right. You just gotta really be cautious. Usually I get it in one shot, but of course when I'm making videos, doesn't want to do it in one shot. All right, once you get that good, you just grab that piece. And it might be a little sticky since we have the 505 spray down there. Okay, but then once you get it, it should come off same way. All right, this is ready to go. All right, this is ready to go. If you got any stragglers, all right, this is where you could burn them. All right. All right. So of course, method number one, I would say is the easiest, most straightforward way. Okay. I would kind of give some reasons why I wouldn't use this sometimes. Okay. I like this method when we're working with these odd shapes. Okay. I like this when we also have uh, nice smooth edges. So we don't have any sharp edges. I really like it. Okay. If we're using sharp corners, I might think about it. Okay. Because sometimes it might, you have to either digitize it accordingly to make those corners as sharp as possible. Okay. But for the most part, anything rounded, I really like this method here. All right. The only drawback, it did require us to hoop it twice. Okay. No big deal. It's not like a make or break, but sometimes it's an extra step in the whole equation. Okay. Sometimes you just want to push play and just let it run all the way through. Okay. But in this situation, we couldn't just push play and walk away. We actually had to push play, let the design run, and then rehoop it and do the second part of it, which is no big deal, right? But in some situations, you don't want to do that. All right. Now, let me show you the method number two, okay, which some might consider the hard way. Actually, yeah, we can easily call it the hard way because we're going to use the hot knife. Hot knife requires experience. Okay. Your first couple patches, you're going to mess them up. Right. That's just the entry level pay that is required. All right. So here, okay, I already stitched out. Okay, the same design. Okay, I just done a couple things. All right. I push play. I let the whole design run through without even touching the machine. Okay, and then I added one extra step. I added backing. So this has already backing ready to go. Okay, so an advantage from cutting it with the hot knife versus the water soluble. Okay, this one here. Now you would add the adhesive now, right? This one here, I already have the adhesive ready to go. Now I just have to cut it with the hot knife. All right. So I think sometimes if you do want to put a an adhesive, permanent adhesive, this method might be a little bit more. You might have an advantage here. Okay, because now we don't have to be all careful with our backing here. Okay, you don't have to cut it at a certain shape. Here, we're ready to go. All right, so let's go over, let's put away method number one. Put this away. Let's bring in. So material wise for right now, we just need a glass. Okay, it has two sides. This glass, it has the smooth side, and then like this is supposed to be the top side, but you want to use the smooth side. Okay, and since our grips are down here, we don't have grips down below. What I like to do, I just put down my rubber matting. Okay, now it's locked in right here. All right, let me see. Hopefully this glare doesn't. Let's remove this glare right here. All right. So this, I'm gonna use this. This is a cutaway. I'm gonna use this scrap. So when I'm cutting, I'm using it as a cleaner right here. So I'm cleaning my needle. Okay. Now let's talk about your hot knife. Okay. What I want to do. Okay. I've been using this hot knife forever. All right. This is like your classic. Okay. Your classic one. Um, Used for soldering. All right. It's really called a soldering knife. Or yeah. Okay. But what's cool about this one comes with different tips. Okay. For the longest. Okay. For the longest, I was using this tip right here. Okay. Because this is what was always recommended. And of course, sometimes we always follow what's recommended, but sometimes, we got to experiment. Okay. This is like your standard one that everybody uses. Okay. I was messing up a lot of patches with this one here. All right. We do have different tips. Okay. Can be used for different types of scenarios and patches. All right. And you could buy these also as kits. Okay. So you can buy different ones. Okay. The one I like to use is this one here, is the thinnest tip. All right. So it's like I'm working with a sharp pen. Okay. And the goal here, my goal here is to carefully outline my design. Okay. I could kind of tip the edges. That's really what I want to do. I want to tip the edges. And I'm not worried about going all the way through the paper. I just I want to do two things. Okay. I want to score it. Okay. And at the same time, what I'm doing while I'm scoring it, which means like cutting it. I'm cutting the twill. Okay, I'm cutting it, but not all the way through. Just enough. I'm gonna come second round and cut it with my scissors. Okay, and since it's already treated, since it's already heat treated, okay, the scissors is not gonna cut any thread. All right, so let me see. Let's do, or let's actually do what I'm talking about. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna connect my hot knife. All right, so we're gonna give it about 2 minutes to warm up. And what practice that I have is I do not like to leave the hot knife on when I'm not cutting. So I don't like it on standby. Okay, so I would get all my patches ready, gathered, and then cut it all in one shot without trying to. All right, let me see if we got any questions. I'm just gonna let it warm up for a bit. All right. All right. And then just as a FYI, we did start an hour early today. And that's because the USA is playing the Netherlands today. Big soccer game. Okay. If you did come late, we got the replay. I might chop this video up, make it a shorter version too, or make it, yeah. Uh, and then Cindy, yeah, two types of heat steel. So usually the heat and bond is kind of made for the home, right? Home type, and then there's the industrial, like the more stronger type, right? It's all opinion based. I think some people they're good with the heat and bond, but the I like the ones from Tool USA. Okay, I've been using that since day one. Usually, if there's some, if I have a problem with something, I go out, start experimenting with other products. But I have hats that I've washed with the permanent um, adhesive, and it's still going strong. And then always give the customer how to care for your embroidery cards. Yep. Hopefully they listen to those and they save them. And then there are heavyweight and light bond, home bread heat bond, patch heat bond. All right. Good information right here, right? For those who want to know about the heat and bond. And then the thing about heat and bond, reason why heat and bond is so uh, popular is because you could go to the store and buy heat and bond. Okay. You can't really go get the industrial type. You got to order it. So you got to be thinking ahead. You got, right? Um, you got to plan it out. Usually, if you're buying it through the industrial, the heavier type, you're buying it in big rolls, right? The rolls come like the size of my table right here. All right, I'm just letting this hot knife heat up. It should be already heat up. All right, I'll probably come back. All right. And then this is the question. I'm gonna label this the question of the day right here from T Town right here. What is the normal charge for a patch? Say 20,000, right? 20,000 stitches. Okay. Thing with patches, we gotta get all. We're like investigators. We need to know all the information. We need to know the who, what, where, when, how. Okay, we need to know what's the size of this patch, what's the complexity, what's the design, right? All that stuff. But I'm gonna put this as the question of the day. All right, what would you charge? And then I'll give you my answer. All right, this is a good question. And that's a lot of stitches too, right? And then how many patches? One patch. You know what I'm saying? Usually you buy one patch, you might as well you probably get charged the same as making 20, okay? Because just setup fees and right. So I'll start with this question, okay? We do got to set conditions, all right? I think sometimes we need to have, if a customer, because I get tons of questions like this, right? From customers that want a price, right? We got to play investigator and ask more questions, okay? Quantity, what's your quantity? Okay. Well, this, and then if they come with something very low, say, oh, well, X amount is my minimum. Okay. We got to have minimums. Okay. We got to have minimums. And what's what was very popular for our shop is minimum charge. Okay. The minimum charge to set to do a project. So somebody came and said, I want one patch. Let's say they wanted one patch. Okay, I'm going to say, well, our orders, we start at $250 per project. If you're not doing 250, then we can't start your project. Okay, that's just condition wise, right? That's just an idea to throw it out there. You could have it where you put it down to like you need at least a $50 minimum. Okay, we have a 50 minimum charge for any job. Okay, that kind of takes away the little small orders that's gonna eat up your whole week. Okay. And then if you get 6 small orders, you might lose a whole month taking care of those 6 orders. All right. All right. Well, I do like this question. Go back to it after we do this. All right. Let's go back. Let's cut this with the hot knife. All right. Should be more than ready. All right. Let me adjust my seat. Now, let me tell you something. You got to get real comfortable when you're in cutting mode. Okay. You got to have, it has to be well lit. Okay. So I got the lights. Good. Okay. Let me see if I could show you my setup right here. This is kind of how I would do it. Let me show you. Let me move my computer. Move my setup right here, just so you can kind of see how I'm working with. All right, so I move my chair here. So I have a light, I have my ring light here, which I can adjust and bring it more down. All right, I got that down. And then I got my overhead lighting up there. So I'm super well lit. Okay, because if you try to do this in the dark, you're gonna mess up your vision. Okay? Your eyes are gonna start straining, and you might start messing up. Okay, and you want to have it well ventilated. Okay, I don't have my fan on right now, but I'm not knocking out 24 patches right now. But if you're doing a lot of patches, you definitely want to have a fan or a window open, and you don't want to because there's fumes and all that. All right, so if you got hard time breathing, okay, definitely might suggest going outdoors if possible. All right, let's go back here. It's like little small things that sometimes we don't think about, but it's the little small details that'll make a project actually go run pretty smooth. All right, let me pick up this light a bit. I think I dropped it down too low. All right. All right. So thin tip. Okay, thin tip. Um, I would say best thing to do is just do projects, practice. Okay. So if I run it one time, okay, I could see a good score right here. Very thin. Let me see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it, but just know that there's a nice little line right there, not too big. Okay, you could play. Okay, I'm telling you, this is all experimental. You got to play with whatever, because this is the thinnest. Might want to play with this one too, which is a tad bit thicker. Okay, and then they do have sets where you could buy sets of these tips. Okay, what I like to do, similar to my cutting. Okay, usually I'm kind of over this. I think I'll be good here. Okay, start right here at these ends. Kind of pull myself out. That'll just help me when I'm cutting. Okay. All right, I think we're good right here. All right, now, so I got line here, line there, there. Okay, even here at these long rounded edges. Like it doesn't make too much sense right now while I'm doing this, but while I'm cutting it, it's gonna help me in the cutting phase. All right, so let's start with this long line right here. Okay, let me take off my hat. That's what's throwing me off right here. And one thing about the hot knife, if you got straight lines, all right, this is easy day right here. All right, I'm kind of challenging myself with this design right here. Make another line right here. All right, ready to go. So all I want to do is lightly tap on the edges of the sand stitches. All right, so let's go. All right, did that full lap. I had to go completely quiet because it requires concentration, and when you talk, your body actually shakes or moves. All right, I think I'm good to go. See? Yep. All right, let's unplug this. Okay. So really, that's 50% of the hard part. Okay. Now let's do the second part. Okay. Now the cutting phase, what's helping us during the cutting phase is we already scored and and our threads, they're already sealed. All right. So that's the good part. Okay. Since we're curving, okay, I'm gonna use my rounded gingers. Okay. So all I'm gonna do is cut right where I scored. Okay. And I could get real close because that thread has been sealed. Right, this is that one corner that I usually call it our headache corner. You know, each job has its headache. This is the headache corner right here. What's gonna help me is that little score that I put there. So Now you could easily see that something like once you get into the more complex designs, right? You either accept the job or you're charging for that job, right? Because you could see the extra time that it's going to take care of this, right? Now, once you're at a certain quantity, once you're in the hundreds, okay, now you might want to start thinking about this, or you might start thinking about your method of doing it because now it might take you forever. You might look into getting a laser cutter. Okay, so for us, we have like a sweet spot of quantity that we like to do. Okay, once we reach a certain quantity that's too high, we're gonna recommend going somewhere that specializes in the higher quantities. All right, eventually, all right, especially right now that we're in the process of moving. Okay, maybe if space allows it, okay, we might get a laser just so we can take care of those larger type orders. All right. And usually the first one that you cut is takes the longest. Okay. Because you catch a rhythm, you're going pretty quick. These edges, I like to just finish it with the cut like that. You could see that I'm cutting it right on the edge, but my stitches aren't raveling because everything is sealed in this final one. All right, so on this design, I didn't want to go the easy route and just do like an easy square. Okay. I did go out and find me a more, I won't say it's the most complicated design or the most complicated shape. Okay. But it's not your average shape. Okay. All right. We're looking good. Okay. Here also, okay, if you need to treat it, you could keep your hot knife on, clean it up right here. What I like to do, I just like to use the good old fashioned lighter. All right. Just clean up any stragglers that's here, especially here in our special corner that we had. Okay, I do got like a little loose thread right there. You can kind of fix right there. All right, let's check this out right here. Let me move the glass. Let's do a comparison, okay, between one or the other. Hold on. Why do I have all these here? Oh, just mixed them up. All right, this is the one we just did. All right, we have this one. You can still clean it up a tad bit here. It's fine. Keep it like that. All right, so we have our two. Okay, let's check them out. This one here, the water soluble. Okay, so the only thing with this one has to be stitched on unless you add the adhesive backing. Okay, but it's ready to go. Looks clean, looks sharp, right? Of course, the edges, we don't have to worry about the edges because that just came off here. Okay, edges look pretty clean, right? We're looking good. The advantage here, okay, we have the sticky back. I'm ready to stick this on anything. Okay, it's ready to go. I don't have to. So the advantage with doing this one, the hot knife, okay, I stitched it all the way through without having to stop, and I could heat press it right away, the backing. You can also put the temporary backing. Okay. The only difficult part about this is the hot knife portion. Okay, so you could see our critical points, right? I probably got to trim it a tad bit here, right? But overall, okay, not too bad. Looks very nice, very sharp, right? In a situation like this, if I were to put this on a white shirt, I don't even have to worry about this. Okay, you don't got to worry about little small details. Okay, um, this one ready to go. All right. Um, Now this one here, if we were to do a rectangle, okay, I would say if we were to do a regular shape, to me, cutting it with the hot knife is way easier than with the water soluble. Okay, and if we're doing an odd shape, then the water soluble is easier than the hot knife. Okay, so to answer today's question, okay, which two ways, the easy way and the hard way to create patches, I would say it depends. Oops, let me kind of wiggle my way out of here. It would depend on the complexity of your patch. Okay, the complexity plays a role on your patch. Okay, and also what kind of backing do you want? All right. All right, hold on. Let me put on my hat. Actually, let me show you this one that I just did too. For example, I was gonna do this design, but let me see what time is it. All right. Yeah, we're already. Initially, I had this one because today USA plays. Okay, this one here is with the hot knife. Okay, so it has the backing on it. Okay, this is an example where I would say it's easier to do it with the hot knife because we got a straight line here. We got a straight line up to here. We got a straight line up to here. Okay, our only critical points are these little curves right here. All right, but as you can see, looks sharp. All right, so this here ready to be put on a hat or anything, right? Anything that you need. All right, and then I got it also on a water soluble. Okay, so water soluble. Hot knife. Okay, and the only thing that I see for the water soluble, okay, when we get to the corners, all right, there's certain digitizing techniques that have to be added, especially to sharp corners such as this one here. Whereas in this way, we don't even have to worry about that. Okay, you could just do a column C and run that whole line through. Okay, but overall, looks good too. All right. So let me know, what method do you think is the easiest? All right. What method do you think is the easiest? Let's switch. All right. And then barb. Okay, my hot knife has the fat tip. Yep. So I'm telling you, when I was learning how to cut with the hot knife, I kept on messing up patches and I couldn't figure it out why. And I'm the type of person, I don't know if you're kind of like me, but My mentality is if I see somebody do something, there is no way I cannot do it. Okay. I have to do it. So by me keep on messing up, I had to take like 10 steps back and figure out why. And then I figured out that it was all on the tip and the heat and the how hot the tip is. Okay. That's why I do want to get into more research. I am going to research on more hot knives. There has to be one where, because the one I have, we can control the temperature. It has a it has a knob. All right. It has a knob here where you can control, okay, how hot you want it. You can bring it down to 200 all the way to 400. All right. If you're up at 400, you're burning all sorts of stuff. So I bring it all the way down. Okay. So I can control, but I want one where you could control even more. There has to be something out there where you could have full control, maybe even a gauge that tells you, okay. So what helped me, what was a game changer, was the tips. Okay. The tips of the hot knife, the thinner, okay, the cleaner, okay, the cleaner. And then I'll post that on. I'll post that. Give me by this afternoon. I'm gonna post everything listed here. All right. So I'm gonna post the hot knife. I think I have it. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna see because I want to put the this exact one where you could control the gauge, and it came with the tips, so you could play around with tips. Okay. But I am going to experiment, and I'm going to check out more knives. All right. And then this is an excellent comment right here. Okay. Use the hot knife to burn the edges. All right. So sometimes you don't need the lighter. Okay. If you have the hot knife on, you could just use the edges and use. And one thing. All right. Thank you for reminding me. You can use the hot knife. Like if you have threads, usually you use the lighter to knock out those tie-in stitches, tie-out stitches. Okay, you could use the hot knife and just lightly tap on those threads, and they just disappear. Okay, they kind of crumble in, lock in. Okay, so you don't have to be cutting them all that time. All right, all right. Let me see. Very good, very good day of training. Um, if there's anything, okay, patch wise, okay, because patches are forever. They're always going to be a uh, a big project that we're always working on. Okay. I like to work on patches that can be put on polo chests and hats. I know you could go big jacket backs. Just know once you get to the jacket backs, you have to be ready to charge what it's worth. Okay. I know some people, they don't they don't want to, or they don't know how, or they're kind of scared to charge 300 bucks, 500 bucks if you have to. Okay, if something's taking you half a day to complete, if your machine is running nonstop for half the day, all right, you got to be ready to price accordingly. Okay, and then you apply adhesive, then you have to cut it out again, the traditional way, the hot knife way, and then yep, the hours I do cutting with the hot knife. Okay, yeah, especially if they're odd shapes, something squared. Sometimes circular ones are pretty straightforward. Okay, but once you get in the groove, you pretty much knock your stuff out. And then Barb, me and the hot knives don't get along so great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was on the same boat. I'm still getting my technique too. Okay, you gotta have a very steady hand, and you just gotta go. Like once you put it down, you gotta go. Like you can't stop and think. You just gotta go. And usually when you're running against the sand stitch. The sand stitch will kind of guide you. So it's all practice. And I've got a lot. I've got a whole lot better than when I first started. And then I am Quade. In the future, how to do trucker hats with the foam panel. All right. Uh, we don't sell any of the foam panels, the trucker hats foam panels. I know those are big items right now. But I might mess with them. Okay, so thanks for that suggestions. I don't like the black that I leave behind. So I would say so. Let me see. Let me show you this. All right, I actually have another one. I have no. This is. I would say it's really on the tip. Okay, because let's. That's a good comment, right? Good question. I have this one. I cut this one earlier. All right, so this is a hot knife here. Okay, it has the backing already. All right. 00 black, no burnt. I would say a big reason, two things is the tip. Okay, the tip, making sure we're not burning more than what we have to, and we're constantly removing the the residue from the tip. Okay, but I think the thinner the tip, the less chances of burning. Okay, because that I'm thinking that would usually just happen with the lighter color. Okay, with the darker, we really don't have to worry too much because it's gonna hide right there. But this one here, example, white, I would say a big roll is thin, thin tips. All right, all right. Yes, salty gravy. Good morning. Yeah, we started an hour early. Okay, we're starting out early. We definitely have this on the replay. And then Barb, side note about the Hatch 3 book, thicker than the Hatch 2. All right, that's good to know. I might just buy that book, the Hatch 3, just so I could have as a reference. I get a lot of questions regarding Hatch 3. Um, I did use Hatch 2, but I'm not familiar with Hatch 3. Um, I think I have to buy all the books because I get questions and I need a reference. What I like to do sometimes if I get a question, um, I'll send somebody or I'll tell somebody if they have the Wilcom book PDF, you could get it for free online. Okay, but I could reference them. I could tell them, hey, go to page this and that in the Wilcom manual, and it'll tell you exactly what you're looking for. So I might get the Hatch 3 for that reason too, so I could have a reference and point people in the right direction. Yeah, so this one here is always a common problem. Customer issue, customer not able to iron on themselves. All right. So sometimes it's like we always do dry runs or we always do practice runs to make sure what we're selling actually works. We throw it in the washer, dryer, and all that. So if it works for while you're testing it, should work with your customer. All right. That's why it's always recommended customers just iron it on or just air dry. Industrial heat seal. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work with the hand iron. It has to be with a heat press. Maybe that's the reason. It requires more pressure. Could be the reason. All right. And then Barb is like one step ahead of me. She already put it out. Might be more heat and pressure than the whole people. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that. Uh, and then Hustle Letters. Good morning. All right. So you have a question about what's the biggest height you could do on hats on the Ricoma? I've gone, I want to say a 3.5 inch, right? Very big. So I went away from that because, I mean, uh, sometimes I don't like how it looks. Dad hats, you definitely don't want to go that big. It's too big for dad hats. If you're going big size hat, like a Richardson, maybe. Um, but yeah, I want to say, to be on the safe side, I'm going to say 3.25 is the biggest that I've done. Let me see. What hat did I do? Yeah. What it does, I don't like going that high because now it starts pulling the hat. You're getting very tight on the top, but it's possible. I would say on the safe side, you could go three inch. Okay, if you want to push it, 3.25. Okay, if you want to experiment, 3.5. But I don't know if you're gonna make it that high. Yep, you need good light. That's good. Right in your shop, you need especially 3D puff, all that detail work. Okay, you need to have good lighting. Okay, and then both of these ways are the hard way. He's napping it easy, taking it easy, not complicated. All right, I don't know if that was all right. Yes, all right. Yeah, I don't edit the live videos. I just leave them as is. That way you could always reference any information. Okay, and then nothing like a little pressure since we are all watching. Yeah. It's a little different than when you're like just embroidering it by yourself. You're like in the zone, and then when you're working on the live video, yeah. I mean, but you get used to it. You get used to it. Working under pressure, it's all good. All right. Just as a side note, okay. What do we have? We have four more Saturdays left. Let me see. We have the 10, 17, 24, 31. All right. We have 4 Saturdays left. All right. 4 lives left this year. All right. I think we did pretty good on the lives. I know I learned a lot explaining things because there's one thing of somebody giving you information and just doing it, and it's another thing explaining why you're doing something. Okay. So in embroidery, a lot of times it's just like tribal knowledge. Um, we do things because that's the way it's been done forever. But one thing that I really challenged myself this year was figuring out why we're doing certain stuff a certain way. Why does the software set its standard at this level? Okay. So a lot of those whys, those were like the big questions and answers that I like to put out and I like to give to everybody. Okay. I don't just like putting out information and say, hey, follow these steps and you'll be successful, right? I like to take a step back and telling you, hey, this is ground zero. And then we gradually work and then we eventually come to a conclusion. All right. But in embroidery, if you understand the three elements, right? The three triangles of embroidery, the hooping, or let's start with the digitizing, the hooping and the stitching. Okay, you can pretty much get yourself get yourself out of any situation, like because you're gonna run into problems, you're gonna run into issues. Okay, you'll know why something's not working. So a lot of times in the forums, we'll see somebody put out something where, hey, why am I seeing this? And you're gonna have like 30 different answers because nobody knows exactly where's the origin of that problem. All right. So one thing that I wanted to put out this year was understanding the whole picture, not just one angle of embroidery. So it's kind of, even if you don't do digitizing, right? you still have to understand why certain stuff is happening. Why did a digitizer put it at this length? Why did a digitizer change your design a tad bit? Okay, because sometimes you're like, hey, why did you change my design? Okay, but now the more you understand the design, the more you can understand the digitizer might actually be doing you a favor by switching it a tad bit. Okay, so sometimes we're like, hey, my design's not set like this. Why did you change it? All right, so we have 4 more shows left. Okay, I want to end with a bang. All right, so if you have any ideas, if you have any ideas to kind of take it up to the next level, I'm always open for suggestions. Okay, if you're on the replay, right, you can always leave questions here. The best way to ask questions, uh, and the best way for me to answer your question is here on YouTube. Okay, it's kind of hard for me to answer on Facebook, Instagram, okay, because I'm not constantly monitoring those platforms. But here it's easier because I'm getting messages on on my phone. All right, so I get my messages. Now, sometimes I do have days where I get anywhere between 20, 40 questions. Some of those questions are technical questions that I have to go back and research or look at certain my designs. I need to be on a computer checking my designs. All right. So if I don't get back to you quick enough, all right, trust me, it's in the back of my mind. I might be researching it. All right. I do appreciate everybody stopping by today. All right. We had an awesome morning. I had a tons of fun. All right. Doing your odd shape patches. Okay. We figured out 2 different ways. It's all about practice, practice, practice. Okay. I'm going to put everything in the description down below so you could get all the information that you need. Um, Make sure you visit our Amazon embroidery shop. It has everything we have in our shop. Okay. I don't just put stuff that I think is good, I put stuff that we actually use. If not on a weekly basis, we use it on a daily basis. All right. All right. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.